Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. It's the Friday afternoon, so it's the Premier League show. It's me and Beth. How you doing, Beth?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good week, like you were just saying there. It feels great, actually, to be going into a weekend happy with what United have done. But then we've got this big game against Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. We've got this big game against Chelsea, and I think we can get the 3 points. I hope we can, to carry the positivity through, because we're on this positivity train at the moment. We beat Newcastle. I know we're expected to beat Newcastle anyway, but the form we were in, it was great to get a result. And then to beat PSG, I don't care what anyone says, they are a great team. Like, their forwards are worth like 480 million or something like that. And our defence did amazing against them. So I think, yeah, we can definitely beat Chelsea. We've got great attacking options, especially with Chelsea's defence, which looks a bit shaky at the moment. I mean, Southampton came back and scored three goals to equalise it to 3-3. I mean,
yeah, West Brom scored with 3-0 up against them not long ago
exactly.
as well.
And we've got, obviously, no disrespect to them teams, we've got really great attacking forwards that can do that as well. So yeah, I think we can get points there.
It is an interesting. I mean, it's the Premier League show, so we're going to be talking about the other games as well. So get involved if you're watching live. We'll be talking about obviously Liverpool Villa tonight, and Liverpool. It's not Liverpool Villa Leeds tonight, isn't it? Sheffield United are playing Liverpool. Spurs have got to go to Burnley. Everton with a couple of injury problems. Will their wheels come off their season now, because they've got to go away to Southampton, which is obviously, you were talking about their good result last week, and they'll have no James Rodriguez and no Richarlison. So the Everton wheels could be about to come off, and maybe the Villa wheels tonight. But fortunately, the big game of the week is the Manchester United game, and we are the United channel, so we'll talk about that. I think the interesting thing for me is I wanted to get your thoughts and everybody else's thoughts on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer versus Lampard. Now, we've spoken about this a lot. There is a lot of similarities between Chelsea and United, and at some point that's going to change, I think, because you can't just be similar forever. Is this the game where you think it could change? Because last year we beat Chelsea twice, but we still finished on the same points, third and fourth. As things stand at the moment, they're 2 points ahead of us. We've got a game in hand. So if we win, we're a point ahead with a game in hand. If they beat us, they go 5 points ahead of us. So it's one of those games, isn't it? The winner almost takes it all and moves away from this weird sort of synergy that we have between Ollie and Frank and Chelsea and United. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you've just got to take it game by game, really. I think the Chelsea that we're facing now is going to be a different Chelsea to the end of the season, because they've spent a lot of money in this transfer window, and like, the players haven't gelled yet, but they're great players, and they're going to come good eventually, especially when they all start to gel. So I don't think this game determines like the be all and end all of it, but I do think it'd be nice for Ollie to get that one up on Frank again, because obviously he beat him twice last season, was it? And
yes,
if he can do it again, then
3 times we beat them in the Carabao Cup at their place. We beat them both in the league, and then obviously FA Cup semi-final they beat us when we're awful.
Yeah, we were awful in that game. But yeah, Ollie seemed to out-tactic Frank like the last few times we've done it. So I don't see why he can't do it again, especially now, because we're really high on confidence. I mean, Chelsea was 0-0 against Sevilla. They're not doing that great. They're not doing as well as they would be expected to be doing. So I definitely think if Ollie can beat him, then it puts United ahead. It puts Ollie ahead in like the press and stuff like that. He's doing a better job in terms of points-wise. Like, you can't deny that, especially with the lack of investment. But yeah, that's the only difference, really, the lack of investment and the fact that Ollie has seemed to tactically outdone him quite a few times now, and I think he can do it again on Saturday. I think he'll go with the 5 at the back like he did against PSG. It's that term, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And the fact that worked against PSG, I think he'll play that again, just because Chelsea do have good attacking options.
It is interesting that you do that, because I personally, in the preview, I said I don't see. The thing I don't like about the back 5 is, one, we're at home, and 2, we did that against them last season. And I just think that I was going to ask you that question. Who do you think, whatever you think about Lampard, and defensively not good, when we played them last season, we beat them sort of on the break. And I feel that if we're going to evolve as a team, when's the time? I mean, it's not Liverpool, it's not Man City, it's Chelsea. Surely at Old Trafford, we've got to start imposing our game. And the problem with the back 5 for me is that it means one less midfielder, and we're already having to bench people like Van der Beek. And now we'll probably have to, if we play back 5, you're probably going to have to bench Pogba as well. So do you think that the back 5 is just because that's our best chance of winning, because we can't go, we're not ready to go with that back 4? Or do you think that what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's just that even though we did play great defensively against PSG, we played great defensively because we had the back 5 and we had Fred and McTominay shielding shielding them. That's why like our defence was great. And I do think to just be sure that he might play the back five against Chelsea, just because they do have like Werner and Havertz and Mount and all great attacking options. So I do think he might do that just to ensure with defensively, because with the likes of Bruno and Rashford, you can like get goals through that. And I don't think it necessarily means that we'd have to cut down on players, because I don't think he'd play like Dan James and stuff like that. I think he might go with Fred McTominay and then the three in midfield like Bruno, maybe Pogba even on the left, and Rashford up front on his own with Van der Beek on the right. Could work, but I don't think he might not do that.
I think it would work, but I think I don't think he'll do it. But yeah, I think that could work.
Mata might play, but I don't think we should play Mata against Chelsea just purely because of his pace and stuff. Like if Reece James plays, like that's I don't know if he'll be able to get back and cover it. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But
Would you play Maguire? Would you play Maguire?
I wouldn't. But I think Ollie will. If Maguire's fit, I think Ollie will play him because he's his captain, and he seems to like not be dropping that at all. So I do think he will play him. I feel like someone's going to be sacrificed though. I don't think you can sacrifice Twanzebe. He did really well. You know, if Lampard get sacrificed, or even maybe Shaw, but I thought Shaw did really well again. But I wouldn't play him. I'd say it's competition for places, but we'd have to see. But I do think Maguire, especially in Chelsea's box with the defence, if Tellers is whipping crosses in, he might be able to get his head on one off a corner. Maybe that's the only pro to it, really.
The thing for me is, I think that it's one of those games, and I know a lot of people have said it, is that if we win it, it's almost like you win and then you move on a little bit. But if we lose it, everything we did against PSG and Newcastle, we'll have lost 3 games in the league. We'll have lost our first 3 league games at home. We'll have lost them all. So I suppose my head's pointing towards a draw, even though I think we absolutely have to win it, and it's massive if we lose it. What's your sort of feeling on this, score prediction wise? Which way do you think it's going to go?
I think we'll beat Chelsea. I think Ollie will beat Lampard again, because he seems to, the last few times, I know people that don't get carried away tactically. People say he's a petite teacher. Tactically, he's got it right, and I think he's going to continue with his gut and make the big decisions in order to out tactic Frank. I do think we can get points here, especially with our attacking options. I definitely think we can get points, and Chelsea's defence are there to get at. I think he might start the back five, and then like if towards the end of the game, might, you know, like he brings his subs on, like fully tries to like kill them off. But I do think we can definitely get the 3 points. If we get a draw at that, obviously it's not bad, but I'd still be disappointed. I think Chelsea are there to be beat. It's our chance now to beat them.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I went 2-1. I think I've gone 2-1.
Yeah.
What's your score? What's yours?
I'm gonna go 3. I'll go 3-1 to United.
Yeah, I think Ollie. Well, it's just excitement after excitement at the moment, and I think that if we get this game done, even then you're going to be like, well, Arsenal next. So we've just got to keep the momentum running, keep the team on their toes, and the team selection will be very, very interesting. Obviously, Beth thinks that maybe we'll go with the back 5, which I'm not disputing. I just would rather we didn't. We've all got our preferences in relation to that. But look, there's lots of other games to talk about. I did want to just talk something we haven't spoken about, and we've meant to speak about on a few shows, is Van Dijk obviously got injured last weekend in the Everton game. Lots of controversy about that. I don't know whether you saw it. What was your thoughts on it? Do you think Pickford should be going to prison for it, or
he shouldn't be going to prison for it? No, I think he should have had a red card. Definitely, I thought it was an awful challenge. When I saw it, I thought that's not on. I don't understand how VAR doesn't intervene and give a red card at that moment. I know it was offside, but it doesn't matter. If someone's offside, can you go and like break the leg? Like I don't understand it. But I do think he should have had a red card. But I think this happens in football. Like Jordan Pickford didn't go into that tackle to try and do Van Dijk's ACL. It happens in football. Players get injured. Jordan Pickford probably feels really bad about it. No one's done it in a malicious way. It's one of them. It happens. And I think he should have just got the red card and the 3-game ban and be done with it then, because it's football. It happens. Every player steps on that pitch knowing that is a possibility.
Yeah, I agree. I think Carragher put it well when he said, I did that tackle on Nani. I've been the victim of a broken leg myself. It is the sort of game where, and I don't think he excused what Pickford did. I think he just sort of like went, in the height of competition, sometimes you will go look, I've played football. I know you've played football as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your personality, how you play football. Some people are very fair. Some people will see the ball and see an opportunity to get the player as well, and you will do it. And if you are a professional footballer and you can think that you're going to get the ball but get the player, a lot of players will do it. And I think that's exactly what Pickford did. And do you regret the injury it causes? Of course you do. But I think if you take that out of football, then football becomes very different. I mean, look what Roy Keane did. You're probably too young, Beth, but look at what Roy Keane did to Haaland. I mean, he was never going for the ball. That was totally retribution and aggression. And there's been some horrific tackles in football. And the reality is people do get injured. Gascoigne, 91 FA Cup final, should have been sent off, broke his, basically ruined his career. He was out for over a year after that. And that's just the way it is. But I was going to ask you about that as well. With Van Dijk out pretty much for the season, there is an element of fans who celebrate that. Not necessarily, well, some people celebrate the injury because he's a Liverpool player. Some people celebrate it because it makes Liverpool weaker. And some people are sympathetic to it. Where do you sit on that? Because I can see I can see, to be fair, the fans who look at it and go, you know what, Liverpool are vulnerable now. We've got a chance. I get that. It's a circumstance, what we're just saying, but I don't ever wish injury on any player. I really don't. Even Di Maria the other night, if he'd got snapped in two, I would have liked it, but I wouldn't have wanted him to get his career ended. I just would have liked somebody to put him on his arse. Obviously,
as a footballer, you would never wish injury on anyone. Like when Van Dijk went off with his ACL, I wasn't there going, oh yeah, he's out 3 months. It gives United more of a chance. Like by chance, it does weaken Liverpool's team quite a bit, which is good for United. But I would never wish him to be injured for that reason. But now it has happened. You can't do anything against it. There is in the back of your mind, you do think we have more of a chance now against them, because for me, Van Dijk is like their first name on the team sheet. He's the leader from the back, and you've already started to notice a difference. You notice a difference when he came off on that game without him. So it does give us opportunity. I think it gives City massive opportunity. I'm not sure about us, but I do think it's anyone's game at the moment. I don't think anyone's unbeatable, and the fact that Van Dijk is out of that Liverpool team now, you can definitely score goals against them. It's just you've got to stop their forward scoring goals in you. That's the thing with Liverpool now. Aston Villa, it just showed, doesn't it?
The funny thing, we'll talk about Villa and Leeds in a minute, because I think, and I'll tell you what Villa's next 5 fixtures are, which is just crazy considering they've won their first 4. But interesting thing about it is, and I do want to just touch on this from a Manchester United point, and get involved in the comments if you're listening. Who is, do Manchester United realistically have a chance of getting into a title race, considering that Liverpool look... Well, they've already dropped more points than they did for most of the season last year, really. They didn't lose to Watford until February, was it? And they've already lost to Villa. Obviously, City have already lost. They don't look great. Spurs, not consistent. Arsenal, never going to be consistent. Everton, we'll talk about them, but they're looking like, if they lose a couple of players, they're not going to be the same team. United, look, we didn't get the centre-back we wanted, but Twan Sebi's come in. We didn't get the right winger that we wanted, but we're sort of playing without wingers. Obviously, so much depends on tomorrow, but it almost feels like the thing about United, every game's the biggest game ever. I've seen like it's been doing this for 3 years, and every game, no matter who it is the biggest game. But tomorrow is a massive game, because if we were to win that, it puts us right amongst everybody again. And then, all right, we've still got Arsenal and Everton to come. But if we could get through this run of the next 3 league games with maybe 7 points or even 9, you'd have to say, what, the confidence and the squad that we've got, you just don't know this year. But I never would have thought I would have said that, even if we'd got Sancho and Upamecano. I think it's more to do with everybody else that I feel that we've got a chance.
Yeah, I do think it's the lead this year. It started really strange. Like anyone can beat anyone, and I do think United do have a chance. The problem with United is consistency. It always has been consistency. Even if we beat Chelsea and we beat Arsenal and beat Everton, I'd still in the back of my mind think, oh, we'll probably go to, I don't know, no one knows, like West Brom or something, and end up drawing, because our consistency has always been off. But with the players that we have, if Ollie can take it game by game, get his tactics right, and get everyone playing together, I definitely think that we're in with a chance. I don't see why we're not in with a chance as much as any as the next person. I don't think City look quite as strong now. They've got Aguero and De Bruyne back, though. I think they're the favourites for me, along with Liverpool. But now Van Dijk's out, that's put them down. But I do think we've definitely got to go for the title. That's what Ollie should be aiming for. Definitely top 4. definitely top 4, but I do think we've got a chance in the title race.
Yeah, I think it's opening up into a season that many of us didn't think was going to be, and I think it would be such a shame if we went and had what we thought we were going to have in them first couple of games. And look, I still think that tomorrow is going to be a massive game, but I also think that our fitness levels have improved massively since before the international break, which I think was a big problem. So let's hope. But look, so Liverpool play Sheffield United tomorrow at home. Sheffield United are dreadful. I wonder why I put that down for us to talk about right near the start, but we can probably move through it quite quickly. I don't know what people think in the comments. Do get involved, by the way. Liverpool at home to Sheffield United tomorrow. Fabinho was fantastic at centre-back as well. I mean, I'd loved him to come to United, but it should be a straightforward win. Sheffield United looked like, I remember, what's his name? I forgot his bloody name now. Junior off the fan cams. His season prediction was that Sheffield United would go down. And a few people were like, oh, what are you talking about? He's not looking far wrong. They're really struggling.
No, yeah, I definitely think that they're struggling massively. But even when I watch them play, I don't think like they look very exciting. I mean, can you say it's? I don't know. Like I do think for me, in my mind, I think it's a straight win for Liverpool tomorrow. Although I think Sheffield United, like they have only conceded like 7 goals or something. They just can't score. They can't score goals. That's the problem. Maybe if Brewster comes good, I know they signed him from Liverpool, they might start firing a bit more. But yeah, it doesn't look good for Sheffield United. Sheffield United and Fulham for me, I think it does. You can't say this early on, but if they don't start scoring more goals, then I definitely think Sheffield United might go down. But I think Liverpool have to win tomorrow, have to win, and I think they will win comfortably. Maybe I don't think they'll go. I don't think they'll score loads of goals, but I definitely think I think they'll win.
And also, so we've got Aston Villa tonight play Leeds. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's Aston Villa are joint top at the moment. They've played 4 games. They've got 12 points. Well, they're not joint top, actually. Everton have got 13. Villa have got 12, but Villa have played 4, won 4. Leeds have had a good season. They've got 7 points, lost a couple, won a couple and drawn 1. The interesting thing for Villa is when you look at their next few fixtures, they've got... obviously got Leeds today at home, so it is at Villa Park. Then they've got Southampton at home. Then they've got Arsenal away, Brighton at home, and West Ham. So, I mean, look, the Arsenal game is going to be difficult for them, of course. They're all going to be difficult. But what do you think about that tonight? Villa, Leeds, Villa doing very well. I think Ross Barkley's come in. He's done a great job. And they've got, obviously, Grealish is a player that we were looking at as well. How do you think that's going to go tonight? And, you know, how Villa are almost getting on halfway there for the points they need to stay up.
Yeah, I know. Villa have had an amazing start to the season, but you know what? I think that is like they've made great signings. I thought Ross Barkley was a great signing. He's taken a step down from Chelsea, and it's obviously less pressure at Aston Villa, and he looks really good. Like especially playing alongside Grealish. I think Grealish was a mistake from us not to get Grealish. He looks amazing. Like I think someone said he's had like the most touches in the opposition's box, like throughout anyone this season, and he's played a game less. It's mental. He looks really good. I think with Leeds' openness at the back, I do think Villa can get in and score a few goals tonight. But Leeds look like scoring as well. Their fullbacks like basically play as wingers, so I think it'll definitely be an exciting game. And I think whoever comes out on, if Villa win tonight, you seriously start to look at Villa and think, wow, they're on a really good run. They're doing really well. There's no reason why they can't take it further. I know it's only the start of the season, and I don't think they'll be up there like the whole way. But their signings that they've made, Ollie Watkins and Barkley.
Yeah, another one. Yeah, you're right. What do you think? I mean, everyone in the comments as well. I need to read a few of these. But what do you think Villa's ceiling is? What do you think is the best they can achieve this season? Because we're assuming they can't get Champions League football. They definitely can't win the league. Can they get top 8? Can they get mid-table? Or
They could maybe do top 10. I'd put them in the top 10. I think if one of their like main players, say if Grealish got injured or something, I don't think they could carry on. I think they've not got the squad depth to go that far. But I think they've started off really well, and I'm excited to see how they would progress onwards. But I think with the teams that you've got and the signings that people have made over the summer, when they start to gel and stuff, I don't think. I think their ceiling is when it gets to top 10 stuff. But I was thinking Villa, like they might be the bottom end, they might be fighting for relegation, but I don't think they'll be in the relegation battle, that's for sure. I definitely think they're safe from that.
Well, I think you're right. I think the Watkins signing is fantastic. I think Barkley is a brilliant signing as well. And I think Grealish was Ollie's number one target. He wanted him, but he was too expensive. But I do think, you know what, actually for Grealish, it's probably better off that he's at Villa, because you look at, I mean, there was a question there from Renato, which I'm going to ask you in a minute, but Pogba's not getting in our team. Van der Beek's not getting in our team. Mata's not getting in it because when we play a back five. So Grealish would most likely be sat on the bench, and yet he's had this great start to the season again in the Premier League. So he's probably better off where he is, even though I know he was the target. I mean, we asked about Maguire. We'll just come back to this. Would you start Pogba tomorrow against Chelsea, considering who would you leave out? I suppose Fred and McTominay need to play. You'd assume Bruno's got to play. So it's difficult in a 5-3-2 to fit Pogba in unless you go to a back four.
I'd play Pogba on the left personally, with Bruno and Van der Beek to the right. That's how I'd play Pogba tomorrow. I don't know if Ollie will start him. It wouldn't anger me if he did start on the bench and he came on later on, because that seems to have been working out for us so far. But personally, I would start Pogba on the left hand side next to Bruno. It's his best position, and when he came on PSG and played on that left hand side, I thought he looked really good and he was showing what he can do. So I'd like to see him play there.
What did we go with Villa Leeds? I've forgotten.
Villa Leeds. What score?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who's going to win it? Yeah.
I'm going to go 3-2 to Villa. And
is this one of these games that you might not know, but people at home will definitely know? Is this a £15-pounder?
I think Leeds games are. I know I'm a United fan, so I shouldn't really be picking Leeds up. Obviously, it's not great that they're doing well, but I think the way Bielsa's gotten playing football, I think that would be like one of the games that is worth it. I don't think any of them are worth £15, but if you're going to,
so it is. You have got to pay £15 if you want to watch it.
Yeah, you've got to pay £15 if you want to watch that game, and it's for the way Leeds play football. Every game I've seen them play, it's so exciting. Like the game against City, that second half was one of the best halves of football I've seen in a while. It was mental. So I do think
the guys over a barrel, really, aren't they? I always thought the Friday night game was. I thought certain games were you didn't have to pay for. I would. Fortunately, then I'm out tonight, so I can't watch it anyway. But if I wasn't, I would have been so tempted to pay the £15 for that, because
definitely it'll be.
I think it would be a good game. Villa playing well, Leeds the way that they play. Yeah, I'm going to go with I think that might be a draw. I'm going to go 2-2, but I think it'll be a good game if anyone's going to watch it. But don't feel that we're pressuring you to spend £15. I'm sure there's other ways. Let's talk about. We'll just do very quickly West Ham Man City. Well, actually, we say very quickly. West Ham 3-0 down with like 9 minutes to go. They get a draw. Won 2 games when Moyes was with COVID. So I think they've got 7 points from their last 3. Home to Man City. I'll tell you what, I don't think that was a penalty for City the other night either in that Porto game. I don't know what the referee was doing there. Is there any chance that West Ham might pull off a shock against City, or do you think City will now see that Van Dijk injury and think, we've got to take advantage? And I don't think De Bruyne is fit for them, though. So it's, again, you don't know.
It's one of them. It's like a 50-50 with De Bruyne, I think, whether he'll play this weekend. If he does play, it definitely increases the chances of winning from him in midfield, like giving the chances there. But I think they've got Aguero back as well. Yeah. Aguero is a killer striker. With him in your team, he can be nothing all game, and he can come and he can score. So I think it'll be a hard ask for West Ham to not let City get some points out of that. But I do think it will be a good game. West Ham are on really good form at the moment, and if City do go up in the first half, there's no guarantees, especially after the Tottenham game. And I think West Ham they could hold them to a draw. They can definitely get goals in their defence. It's a really interesting game, and I tell you what, if West Ham do get some points off City, as a United fan, if we beat Chelsea, you start looking at stuff like that and you start thinking there is real opportunity here to try and go for the title.
Yeah, I agree. I think City will win it. I'm going to go 3-1 in that one, but I do think that it's one of those games where you get greedy and you hope that there will be points dropped there.
I really do hope, but you can't write off City. I do think they'll win against West Ham.
I don't think City are as good as they were a couple of years ago. I just don't think that they are, and I think they are vulnerable. What was I going to say? Yeah, get involved, everybody. Keep your comments coming in, and please share the video if you're watching live. Got nearly 7,000 watching, so smash a like on the video. Carl Freddy says, everybody talked about we needed depth in the squad, and now we're complaining about that. We have good players to be on the bench. Doesn't make sense to me. football fans are always going to complain, Carl. That's the whole point. That this is, if we just went, we've got depth, let's go back to watching Countdown or whatever's on the telly, then we wouldn't be football fans. I don't think it's really complaining either. I think it's just, we're all happy at the moment. And I said this, Beth, and I'm sure everybody at home is thinking this as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got a big problem tomorrow, but it's a nice problem. But if he brings Maguire back in and we lose 2-0 because Maguire makes mistakes, he'll have to take the flak, won't he? Because people will say, why are you changing a winning team? But he's got so many options, and I think that's a good thing because we don't know how he's going to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. Like, I'm not going to complain about the squad depth that we have unless we start losing. Like, I know it's only 2 games now, but the way we've won Newcastle and PSG, Pogba coming off the bench, Van der Beek's on the bench. I do think Van der Beek should get a bit more of a chance, but as long as we win, that's the main priority for me. And I'm not going to complain about having good things on the bench after what we had to deal with at the end of last season. Like, Ollie didn't even want to make a sub because our bench was that poor. Like, it has improved a lot, and as long as we're winning with the depth that we have, then I'm not going to complain about it, definitely. And I think it's good to have competition for places. You see people competing more. De Gea's done better. Even you thought like we had like not really much competition in defence, and now suddenly it's getting to Saturday, and Maguire's probably sat at home watching that PSG. Like, I could, like, there's some competition here for me, and that's good. That's the way it should be. It makes players up their game, and yeah, I'm not complaining about the squad depth. I'd definitely rather have the qualities off the bench that we do now.
We won't do Fulham Palace because life's too short, so we'll move to the Sunday fixtures because we've done Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool, Sheffield United. If you're interested in Fulham Palace, I don't think they've even got fan channels, so get a life. But Premier League on Sunday. I'm only joking, Fulham and Palace fans, but really. Palace win. Fulham are going down, aren't they, Beth? And West Brom probably as well.
Yeah, I'd probably say Fulham and West Brom pretty much nailed on, to be honest. Going down, definitely Fulham.
Could be quite boring, actually, because it could be Sheffield United, West Brom and Fulham quite easy.
Yeah, but I think it'll be exciting at the top, though. I don't think you'll need as many points this year. I think everyone will be quite close. Well, I hope that's the way it is anyway. It's more exciting at the end of the season if it's like that.
Sunday fixtures are exciting. Southampton, Everton, Wolves, Newcastle, and Arsenal, Leicester. We'll start off with Southampton, Everton. Maybe in previous years this wouldn't be a very exciting fixture, but I think it really is because obviously Everton are top of the league at the moment with 13 points. Southampton are currently on, what have Southampton got? So they've got the same, well, they're 7 points. They've got one more than United at the moment. Very good result for them coming back from behind against Chelsea to get the draw at Stamford Bridge last week. But Everton are on a madness, actually, with 13 points. But Richarlison sent off petulantly, 3-match ban, and then James Rodriguez is out. That game would have been, I remember last season when Leicester started off very well and people were talking in the comments about what Leicester can do. And I said, it's not really about what Leicester do against the big teams because they're almost bonus points against the top 4. It's what you do away to Southampton. It's what you do away to West Ham. And here we are, Everton away to Southampton. I think if they want to have any aspirations for top 4, this is the game you've got to go and win. Without Richarlison, without James Rodriguez, that's going to be a really big ask. Do you think they can do it, or do you think this is where the wheels come off for Everton?
I think they can do it. They've got a brilliant manager in Carlo Ancelotti, and Sigurdsson comes in for James. Pretty much sure about that. I mean, I think Richarlison will be a miss. They don't really have another forward player of that quality. But I think if they beat Southampton at the weekend, that's when you really start to look at Everton as contenders in there, because the run that they're on, it's mad. But I think without James, I think they're going to really. I think could be the first game Calvert-Lewin doesn't score. I mean, without his deliveries, I mean, you've got Sigurdsson in there. It's whether he can do the job. But Southampton look quite good now. I thought they were poor at the start of the season, but against Chelsea to come back and get a draw like that, they're not going to be a pushover. So I think if Everton do win, which I do think they can win with their manager and the way they set up with they've got a plan and stuff like that, I do think they can go and win that game if the players turn up. But if they do win, then it definitely starts to look at Everton and think, wow, maybe you're not just on a good run like Leicester was at the start of last season. The difference between Everton now and Leicester is I look at Everton, I think they've got really great players and a really great manager. So I don't see them if they proper tailing off. I think Ancelotti's got a plan. I think he could go on and be in that top 4 race.
Bit of a breaking news there. Sorry, everybody. There is a hope that James Rodriguez will play in this game now. So
Really?
a couple of well, I hope he does, because he's in my. I just wrote down when you were talking there, fancy Premier League, because I forgot to change my team last week, but I still had a really good week. So if James Rodriguez isn't playing, I need to take him out, which I didn't do, and I might actually keep him in. I actually do think if James Rodriguez plays, they'll win. I think for me, I think it is that simple. So I'm going to go Everton to win 2-0. What are you going to go with?
If James is playing, then I'm going to go 2-1 to Everton.
2-1, yeah. It's going to be interesting. We've got Everton to come in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that. But I hope that, we were talking about this. I hope that the league continues the way it has been, with these shocks and turns and everything like that, because it just makes it more interesting. And I think, I've watched a lot more football this season than I normally would do. And I don't think it's got anything to do with COVID or lack of fans in the ground. I just think a lot of teams have improved, and I don't think Liverpool and Man City are as good as they were a couple of years ago.
Definitely, there's less of a big jump to the top now. I feel like even Tottenham going forward, they look immense. I mean, the Son and Kane link up, like their partnership. Harry Kane, buddy, playing in midfield, like they look so good. But again, the defense let them down. People can have goals scored in them this year. And that's why you're seeing these mad results. It's mental.
We'll do Liverpool, not Liverpool, Arsenal. I just keep wanting to talk about Liverpool. I don't know why. Arsenal Leicester is the Sunday night game. We'll be doing the 8:00 show when that's on. So we'll be able to keep an eye on that one. I don't actually think this is the big game. A lot of people keep saying the Arsenal Leicester, it's a big game. I personally don't think it is a big game, because when you look at it, I don't think Leicester are that good. They're in fourth at the moment, so I make myself look an idiot there. They've got 9 points, and Arsenal have got 9 points. So they're fourth and fifth, respectively. But I actually think this is going to be a straightforward win for Arsenal, who are not playing particularly well. But Leicester have got no Ndidi. They've got no Sionku. They've got Pereira's been out for ages. I just think Leicester are not as good as people think, and it will be probably a straightforward 2-0 win for Arsenal, who will then have 3 points going into the game against us and a lot of confidence. And then after, we've got to jump Chelsea yet, but then we're going to have to jump a confident Arsenal side. So am I misreading that, or do you think it could be closer?
Is Vardy back for the weekend for them?
I will find out for you now. But
if Vardy is back, then they can take the. It's a hard one. I feel like Arsenal and Leicester are like the same kind of point, really. Like the Arsenal. They said
with Vardy, sorry, they said that he's missed the last 2 games, and they'll monitor him, so he might miss out. They might not have Vardy either.
If he misses out, then I definitely think Arsenal can get a result. I mean, Leicester have got quite a few of their first team players out, so I do think Arsenal can get a win there. I don't want them to get a win there. I hope that Leicester can beat them, because I see Arsenal more as long-term competition for us. But I think Arsenal will win it. But I'll be interested. Do you think he'll play 4 at the back instead of 5? He played it in Europe, didn't he? He started playing 4 at the back, and I don't know if they start playing that in the league and they've not fully worked it out yet, then maybe Leicester can get in behind them. I don't know.
Well, Lee Chappie, who is a Leicester fan, who basically is a Poundland Jamie Vardy, because he looks like him, he says that Vardy's calf is still off at the moment. If Vardy's out, they've got no chance. But I think that's an interesting thing about Arsenal. I mean, I've said this a lot about Arsenal. Reminds me a bit of Ollie last season, where they're getting good results, but they're getting good results playing the way that can't be their future. Like 5-3-2 for Arsenal cannot be your future, because you will win some games, but like you've seen this season against Man City and Liverpool, they've lost those games that they won last year. It's not going to give you playing 5 at the back is not going to give you longevity. You've got to evolve. He's not evolved yet. And the way he's going to play as an Arsenal manager isn't going to be 5-3-2. So the judging of Arteta will be when he actually dares to start playing with a 4 at the back. And, maybe Sunday would be a good opportunity for them to do that, because you don't learn under Pep to play a 5-3-2. So I think that be interesting. And as we know, Arsenal fans don't have a lot of patience. So you just don't know how well Arteta's going to do.
A shock result, though, if Leicester, they could beat Arsenal. And if they do, then that's another thing that you take and you look at it and you think, it's hard to predict, because, as I said before, I feel like everyone's got a chance with everyone at the moment, bar like obviously the Fulhams and stuff like that. It'll be interesting.
It will. The other game on the Sunday is Wolves versus Newcastle. Obviously, we beat Newcastle quite comfortably last week. Wolves haven't had the best of starts. Having said that, they have had a better start than I thought actually, because they've won 3. They're on 6. They're in 6th place. Newcastle 7 points, and as you say, it's just nip and tuck. You just don't know what's going to happen. But I would imagine Wolves would beat Newcastle based on how Newcastle played against us. I don't think they were all that, to be honest. But I do disagree with people saying, "Oh, it's only Newcastle," because I don't think you can say it's only anybody at the moment. But I would expect Wolves to have too much quality for Newcastle. I'd say that'd be a 2-0 as well.
Yeah, I think Wolves will beat Newcastle, but I don't think Wolves are as big as a threat as they were last season. I don't think they're in the race for the top 4 this year, really at all. But I do think they'll beat Newcastle, definitely. Yeah. What do you think about Cody? He's been linked to Liverpool, isn't he? It's like
he is a Scouser, isn't he? So
I know. Don't know how that'd work out. I don't know.
Well, I think he'd do all right, because I think Doherty's gone from there to Spurs, and he looks comfortable. So if you take that assumption that Cody from Wolves to Liverpool, he might do quite well. But I think the interesting thing with Wolves is, where I might disagree with you actually, is that because they don't have any European football this year, and they did last year, they may have better energy levels to focus on the Premier League. And I think that is something that is going to really impact on certainly the Europa League teams, because the Champions League and Europa League have started later this year. You're literally playing weekend, midweek. Normally there's a bit of time. There's a couple of weeks where you have a midweek off, or there's a Carabao Cup game, but it's pretty relentless. So it'll be interesting to see how the Evertons and the Wolves do, because obviously Leicester played in the Europa League, I think, last night as well. So that's going to be an impact. That
would definitely be an impact. I forgot about Leicester playing in the is it the Europa League that they're in? Yeah, playing in the Europa League. Like that makes that he puts them further back even further for me. I don't think they've got the depth to go forward, playing them games and then the Premier League as well. That's the thing. That's why I'm happy about our squad depth in a way, because we've got that squad depth. People can't moan and say, "Oh, they're tired." Oh, I just hope Ollie does switch it up, and he's got the players that can interchange. But it's one of them. He's never going to drop Bruno. He never was going to drop Maguire. But yeah, I do think back to the point. I do think Wolves are still very strong and a good team. I just think the other teams at the top are much stronger, and that's why they'll get pushed out of that race.
The final game of the weekend, and then I want to just have a quick chat about Mason Greenwood, is Burnley against Spurs, and it's at Burnley. Now, Burnley are actually in the bottom 3. I didn't realise they'd had such a bad start. 1 point from 4 games for Burnley. Spurs currently got 8 points, but really should have another 4. If they'd finished their games off against Newcastle and West Ham, they'd be on 12 points. This is, though, the sort of game for Spurs that will probably define their season in many ways, because if you can't go and win at Burnley, which, look, I'll put my hands up. If anyone's watched my FIFA career mode, I can't beat Burnley. So fair play, Mourinho, if you can. But if they could go and get a result there, the way, Spurs have had a couple of bad results, but it's not cost them anything at the moment. They're still very much they've still very much got a chance of getting into, well, they probably thought top 4 would be hard this season. It's definitely open for them, potentially an outside chance of getting into a title race. What do you think of Spurs under Mourinho? A lot of people, myself included, have said I think Mourinho's dusted, but there seems to be a change in the way that he's playing, which is something he never did at United, unfortunately.
It's one of them. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm glad Mourinho's in the league. I think you can't disrespect him with the stuff he has won, and he did win the Europa League with us. I would not want him at United the way he played there, definitely not. But he has taken on a more attacking style as of late with Tottenham. Did cost him a little bit though when his defence let him down against West Ham. But I think if Son and Kane again can stay fit, then they're in with a really good chance of getting up there. But they need to strengthen up at the back, and so then if they had a good defence, they would have won that game 3-1, 3-2 against West Ham, and they'd be sat on 3 points. But I feel with Spurs, they're always lacking that last little bit, them last extra points here and there, and. I think they'll beat Burnley, though. I do think they'll beat Burnley. I think Kane and Son are a bit unstoppable scoring goals now. I feel like people, when they play Tottenham now, they know that what's coming to him. Son on that left-hand side, is lethal when that ball goes through to him, and it's hard to stop. So, and I don't see Burnley as a massive goal scoring side, so I don't think they can outscore Tottenham. So I do think Tottenham will win. But if you don't, that's when you start to think they've not got that consistency that a top side needs, which is again what United lacks. And I hope United starts getting some consistency in their game.
I think Gareth Bale was a big player as well. I mean, he really should have finished that game off, but you can't knock him. It was the way he skipped past the player was class, and then the finish. I was like, that's it. He's going to score from there, and then he obviously didn't. But I do think he's a funny one, Bale. I mean, I'd almost ask everybody in the comments this, and I know what the answer would be. So, if I said to you now, would you have James Rodriguez and Bale at United? I presume your answer would be yes. But then in the summer, when I was asked this, I said no. But that was totally based on the fact that I think it's because we had such a bad transfer window. Of course, I would take Bale and James Rodriguez now. We should have been looking at a Jadon Sancho. But of course, you know, for Spurs and Everton, I think they're both very good acquisitions. And I actually think James Rodriguez is clearly going to be a success. I think Bale will be as well. I mean, look, Jack says I'd take James Rodriguez and no to Bale. I actually think Bale's biggest problem is his fitness. Because I think if he stays fit, he will do well in this league. Yeah,
with Bale, it's one of them. I rate him as a player. I think he's got amazing talent, and I think he will come good at Tottenham for them. But if you asked me in the summer when we were talking about Sancho, I would have said I don't think I'd want him for his age. How long would he last for? We've got quite a lot of midfielders as it is, so I'd rather see them progress really than just get like a Gareth Bale that's only going to be here for like a year, 2 years. So no, I wouldn't want Bale. I'm kind of glad he's back in the Prem. Like, it's nice to see him in the Prem. I think he will come good for Tottenham, but for United, I wouldn't want him there. Same with, thing is though, James Rodriguez, he looks, I thought his pace would let him down, but his left foot, it is magic. So James Rodriguez, I'd probably say maybe we could have him, but then again, we've got great midfielders as it is. That's not where we need to strengthen. We need an out and out right winger, and we need to strengthen our defence. The midfield isn't first priority for us at all, really.
I must just ask as well, because a couple of people have mentioned it in the chat. Where are we going with this one? Are Spurs going to beat Burnley?
Yeah, I think Spurs will beat Burnley. I think it'll be like a 2-0, 3-0, one of that. I don't see Burnley scoring really. I think Spurs will win. Turf Moor's a hard place to go, to be fair, but I think Son's too lethal. I know quite a lot of people who've captained Kane as well on the fantasy. Yeah.
There's a few people in the live comments, Beth, who are saying it's pronounced James, but the funniest comment, the funniest comment comes from Harry Smith, who says it's pronounced James, not James. Like, we can only read what you type, and you've typed James, not James. So we're going to read it as James, not James. But from one Wanderers, I agree with you, by the way. I think it will be a win for Spurs. Burnley, surprised. I didn't realise Burnley only had 1 point. So it's Burnley are in a mess as well. They'll probably. Pardon?
They're in trouble as well. I feel like they're going to be towards the bottom end this season. I mean, they didn't really help Sean Dyche out a lot. I don't think they spent any money this year. I bet he was gutted about that. But yeah, I don't see him getting up there. Everyone's improving, and if you're not going to improve your squad, there's only so far you can go.
There will. There's no doubt that he will. They'll play United, and suddenly that'll be the turning point. But it's a good. Yeah, I agree with that comment by Southpaw of Sports. So from one wonderful left foot to another, we've got our own left foot superstar. His name's Mason Greenwood. I want to talk about Greenwood and Cavani, but I want to talk about Greenwood first. There's been a lot of talk about Greenwood this week.
Yeah,
and he's the truth of the matter appears to be what Ollie has clarified today, that he doesn't turn up late. He's a good lad. He had a bad experience in Greenland, Iceland, which he's had to pay for, with the English press getting on his back. And, ex-players who are talking about it don't know what they're talking about. Basically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come out, put his neck on the line and backed his player and said this is all a load of nonsense. Where do you sit on this with Greenwood? Because yourself, obviously, not too dissimilar in age. And I think it's quite an important question because, I mean, he's got the world at his feet, but he is still very young. And this can have a big impact on people, can't it? So, fair play to Ollie, but what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I'm glad Ollie's come out in the press and backed him. I'm really happy about that because if it is true what's gone on, it'll make Mason Greenwood hopefully want to get back on track and do well for his manager. I mean, Ollie's good at that. He's good at getting players to play for him. So hopefully that this will be the turning point with him. But I just think, I mean, I know he's young. Like I think he's the year below me in school years and stuff like that. So he is young, but he's just come into United. Everyone's saying his name, Mason Greenwood. He's getting touted as one of the best young talents in the world. He is going to start believing his own hype, and he knows he's good. I mean, you can see that from how many shots he takes. I mean, he's a brilliant player. The only thing I would think, though, is that at this point, I don't know why you'd start throwing that away for what? Parties and people who are only probably talking to you because you play for United and your name's Mason Greenwood. I mean, it's one of them, really. I hope that this is a turning point. I feel like Ollie made the right decision by backing him in the press thing that he had. That was definitely the right decision because hopefully Greenwood will now think, oh, my manager's backed me here. I need to prove to him and I need to get back into that team. But again, if it is what's happening, I think it's another big decision by Ollie to leave him out. And it just shows Greenwood, we don't rely on you to win games. Your place isn't nailed on and we've got other options. And he still needs to keep working hard to get into the team. And yeah, I just hope that it's a turning point because I hate to see his talent go to waste because he's one of the most talented young players that there is at the moment.
It is interesting. I'll ask you this actually, because Cavani is going to be available tomorrow. If the team selection goes like we think it might go, and it could be the 5-3-2 or the 4-4-2 diamond, your expectation is that the 7 subs, one will be a goalkeeper, 2 will be defenders, 3 will be midfielders, and 1 will be a striker. Agallo presumably would not be involved in that, and he would probably have to go with Greenwood or Cavani. If it came down to that tomorrow, or even if they're both on the bench and you need to bring one on, doesn't even, so it could be put one on the bench or they're both on the bench and you need to bring one on. Which do you think at the moment, and I know it's blind about Cavani, but assuming it's Cavani of what he was doing at PSG, where do you think United's focus should be over the next few games with no Martial? Do you think we should be looking to get Cavani on the pitch, or do you still think that, or do you think that Greenwood's the one to go with?
I think
because no one's talking about that. No one's talking about that.
I think you've got to. If Cavani's fit, I doubt he will be fit for tomorrow. I definitely don't think he will start. But if he's on the bench, I do think Ollie will use him. I think he'll bring him on. I think you've got to, especially if Tellez is playing with his deliveries and stuff like that. And when you're on your debut and stuff, you're against Chelsea. He's a big name. He's a big player. He knows about pressure and stuff like that. I think he could definitely score on his debut. So I think Ollie would go Cavani to bring on, probably over Greenwood with everything that's happening at the moment. I think you probably want to take the limelight away from Greenwood at the moment, to be fair. But I do think Cavani would be a good shout if it is the Cavani of old off the bench, especially with Tellez deliveries. But I do think it will be off the bench with like 10, 15, 20 minutes to go. But I'd like to see Greenwood get time though as well. I rate Greenwood so much. I know everyone does. And I'd like to see him back on the pitch. I mean, he was in my fantasy team. Because I thought he'd be playing further forward. But I think if Ollie does have to make the decision, I feel like they will both possibly be on the bench. But I do think he'll bring Cavani on over Greenwood for his debut and to get that like goal on his debut.
Make sure you smash a like if you're watching everybody live, by the way. We're nearly at 2,000 likes. I personally think the Greenwood thing, and I hate this cliche with a player that's been at the club already, but I almost feel like he's almost subconsciously like a new signing because he's had a quiet start to the season. He had what happened with England. We've not used him against Newcastle and PSG. Everyone's focusing on Cavani and this diamond or the back 5, and everybody's sort of like, well, Greenwood, whatever. There's a lot of talk about Greenwood, but it's not about his talent. And I actually think that Mason Greenwood is actually a really, really exciting player when you think about it. Not only because we know he's an exciting player, but actually he's available tomorrow, and he's a winner. He's a game changer. So I think that Greenwood is just, it's probably a good thing what's happened in a way, because the expectation of what he delivers on the pitch has sort of been forgotten by all the press talk and Cavani coming in. And actually, he's a player that could come on for 20 minutes or even start tomorrow and be a match winner for us. So I quite like the way the expectation on Greenwood has shifted away, and he's almost been forgotten, because I personally think he's a better talent than Marcus Rashford. Just at this moment in time, we'd probably rely on Rashford more because of his age and his maturity.
Yeah, I think Rashford, I mean, it's a great role model for Greenwood to have now. I mean, at the club, he's a great role model for Greenwood to have, and I hope he does look up to Rashford in that sense. But yeah, Greenwood's a very, very talented player, and I think he does have a little bit of a point to prove now when he comes back. Maybe like get his place back in the team and stuff like that. So I do think if he does play or he does come on, I think he's got a very good chance of doing something. I mean, his ability with his feet, like, you know, as soon as he turns in, he's going to shot and he's going to probably hit the target, or even if he's in a position where you don't think he can score, he manages to do it. So I do think if we need goals and Greenwood's there, then it is, again, a very good option. It just highlights like the amount of options we do have, really. And I am excited to see how Greenwood returns. I have no doubt that he will come back even stronger and exactly like he was before.
We've got a few minutes left, so please get your comments in and your questions in, and we'll take some of those. But it's going to be a very exciting weekend. Man United against Chelsea. I think that the thing about these Premier League shows is it only adds to the fire of excitement, because you move away from Man United a little bit. You start looking at everybody else. You start looking at the league table, and you really start to think, there's not a team that, especially after what we did against PSG on Tuesday, and we've shown we can do this. It's consistency is the problem with United. But I do look at that league this year, and I think if United can just get this consistency and perform like we have over the last couple of games consistently, then there's not a team I'm really worried about. Of course, Liverpool can beat us, and Spurs and Chelsea could beat us, but I do think that we are capable of doing something this year. And I'm not saying that's going to be win the league, but you know, we could be top four, we could win a trophy, we could go quite deep into the Champions League.
Yeah, we definitely are capable, and I think with the squad depth we've got, it definitely makes it easier with what we're doing. And I do think the consistency will improve, because as you've seen, like last season, we'd have no one to bring off the bench. Like the first team was the first team. There was not much competition, so there wasn't much pressure. But you've seen, like, for example, against Newcastle, we were only 1-0 up until, like, was it the last 20 minutes? And then he made his substitutions, and it won us the game, really. We didn't have that last year. We never had that to our advantage. So I think some of the games that we're heading to maybe draw last year or ended up as a draw, then I think we'll start winning more of them games, which will improve our consistency. I do think we've got a chance, and I'm very excited to see how things go this weekend. I mean, if we beat Chelsea, but then all our other competitors win their games as well, I mean, you sat here thinking, thank God we beat them, because then we're behind, but also you don't get really much ahead of everyone else. So obviously the best outcome would be for us to beat Chelsea and then a surprise shock with the other fixtures. But we just need to take game by game, and if we do keep doing that, then teams are going to drop points and we can definitely get in there.
Joshua Nunes says, what position should Greenwood play if he comes on? I suppose with the lack of width that we're playing at the moment, maybe this is the season where he goes down the middle, because I don't think he's a winger. I think he's a young lad who's been playing out wide, and I mean, I think he's he turned 19 about 3 weeks ago, so not 18 anymore. Definitely, you can see physically he's grown on over the summer. So to me, it's time to start putting him through the middle, especially. He's not a winger for me.
Definitely, I definitely think we should play him down the middle, and you might even see him up his game even further. Well, I hope so. Anyway, you even see him when he plays on the right. He's not one of them that gets crosses and stuff like that. He always is looking for the goal. He's got striker's instincts, and I think he has the potential to become a top striker for us for years to come. I just hope he does stay on track with it.
I'm just laughing at this one. Giroud at prime against Cavani at his prime. I mean, look, Giroud's prime was spent at Arsenal. Like, he's good. He'll score tomorrow now. You can guarantee it. But Cavani, I'm not even a big fan of Cavani. I like Cavani. I just don't like his style. So I'm very excited to see what Cavani's going to do at United, because I've never liked that type of player. And I think that people like Telles and Bruno are going to be so important to Cavani's success, because he's going to need the service. He's not the flair that Greenwood or Rashford or Martial are. But Cavani's definitely better than Giroud as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think Cavani would have struggled if we didn't have the providers that we've got, which we did struggle to have creativity in our midfield. And if we brought Cavani in there, I think he definitely would have struggled. But with the creativity we've got now and Telles coming in, I think I'm optimistic. So I'm hoping that he can do well for us. I hope it's not like another Falcao sort of signing. But yeah, you can't write him off. even though he's 33, he was one of the world's best forwards, wasn't he? So I just hope he's still got some left to give to the Prem this season, and I hope he can do a job for us, really. But yeah.
Captaincy, a few people asking about that. Any issue with, I mean, I think Maguire will come back into the team. We assume he will keep the captaincy. Well, he will keep the captaincy. Do you think that's going to have a major impact? Do you think the captaincy of Bruno on Tuesday was a big part of it, or do you think it doesn't really matter that much?
I mean, I think we'll get to see as the games go on, really. I think if Maguire goes back to being captain on Saturday and the leadership isn't there, then I do think you've got to start looking like if that was the thing. I mean, everyone, all I know is against PSG is everyone stuck to their roles. Everyone had the mentality, a great mentality. And you do have to give Bruno credit for that, because he's leading by example and the players followed him. And it's one of our best team performances we've had in a very, very long time. So you do got to give Bruno credit for that. The only thing I worry about Harry Maguire, I mean, Werner, he's got so much pace and he's got a point to prove. And that for me, that's why I've got to start Axel. I mean, he's going to outpace Lindelof and Maguire like there's no tomorrow. So I do hope that if Maguire does come back into the team, I do hope we keep Axel there after his performance against PSG. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I think it'd be very harsh on Lindelof to drop him.
I know.
If he's going to play Maguire, you've got to play Tuanzebe. My fear is he's going to rest Tuanzebe and play Maguire and Lindelof, which would just be a bit of a concern.
Stupid. If he did that, that'd be stupid. I do think Lindelof led to that line very, very well. And he didn't really put a foot wrong against PSG. I thought he did really well, so it would be unfair to drop him. But Maguire's on some pedestal to Ollie, isn't he? Like he's his captain, he can't be dropped. But that's another thing. That captaincy, I don't think it rests well with him. I don't think it's one of them. The captain should be someone who's the first name on the team sheet, who's never going to get dropped and has them qualities. For me, that's Bruno. But it's one of them. If you took it off him now, then does that show? Like it's a hard one.
Yeah, like Anton says there, I think Lindelof, there's not a lot between Lindelof and Maguire, to be honest with you. Pawan says, Werner's another Shane Long. Mate, look, Werner's a good player. Like, I know this is my thing to say that Neymar's just a Brazilian Theo Walcott, but with all due fairness, I said it during the game because I knew Neymar was getting pocketed. I'm not going to go down the line of calling Werner a Shane Long before we've played them. For one reason, I think Werner's fantastic. I would love United to have bought him. So people calling Werner a Shane Long, you're just setting yourself up because he is a good player.
If Liverpool would have ended up in Werner, I don't know why they didn't do that signing. I'm glad they didn't, but that would have been a great signing for them. I mean, they missed out there really. But the thing is about Maguire, if he does play, you've got his heading abilities off corners, I suppose. That could be a threat, especially with the Chelsea defence. So you've got to look at. I think he has more aerial ability than Lindelof. So I think it would be Lindelof who misses out if he does bring Maguire in. That's what I'd hope for him to do anyway. But yeah, we've got a good chance. I mean, Tuanzebe, if he plays with Werner's pace, he can mark him, and then you've got. Is it Wan-Bissaka? He's a great one-on-one defender against the likes of Pulisic and stuff like that. So I think we've got a great chance if we can finish our chances. That's what I wanted to say. We need to start finishing our chances. We get in so many good positions, and you think to yourself, City would have scored that. This team would have scored that. We need to start being that team that is more lethal when we do get into them positions.
I just hope he picks Mason Mount because I think he's weak, to be fair. We touched on that. Okay, yeah. I put the comments on there because I would have forgotten. I know we were speaking about it at the start of the show. What's your Twitter? I know you're happy to give it out now.
It's Beth T MUFC.
MUFC. There you go. People have been asking that for a long time. Okay, so that's that. That's the Premier League show. Flex was meant to be on, but he had to drop out because he's got an appointment. So we battled through. I think we deserve a like. I think we probably got through more than we would have done with Flex and his fence sitting anyway. Everything would have been a draw, and so you get what you get there. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Really enjoyed the Premier League show. We got through a lot there, mainly about United, but obviously about all the other games, which is the point as well. So big shout out to everyone. There is going to be an 8:00 show tonight. Then tomorrow morning, the chart show's back. And then obviously it's all the watch along and everything tomorrow for a massive game for United against Chelsea, which is a must-win for us. But thanks very much for coming on. No, I see, I even nearly said Flex. He's not here. Thanks very much for coming on, Just Beth. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, really enjoy talking about it. I just hope we can get the points. I hope Rashford can stick some against Chelsea again. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you'll be doing your fan cam tomorrow.
I'll be doing my fan cam tomorrow. So yeah, you can watch that.
Back on the Sunday show with Kev and Ricky as well. So we'll look forward to that. Thanks to all the moderators. Thanks to everyone in the comments, especially those who behave themselves. I mean, look, it is social media. We're fully aware that some people don't really have much of a life, but the vast majority know how it works, and we appreciate that. And thanks everyone. And we'll be back on the 8 o'clock show. Speak to you all in a bit.
Speak to you soon.